you guys? How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Good morning. Sorry that I'm late. It's already been quite the morning here, but we do have 3 kids at school, so that's a win. Everyone made it to school today. Wasn't easy getting everyone ready with the arm braces and the ear drops and the allergy meds and, all the things, but they're there. So we are here. Coffee and crime. I've already drank my coffee. Yeah, I about gave myself a nervous, I don't know, an anxiety attack. I drank my coffee and I was almost out of cigarettes. And I thought before the live, I better go get cigarettes. And when I got home, pulled into the driveway and I park over closer to my mom's house. Well, I got out of my car with it still in gear and it started rolling towards the house. And I jumped back in that car. I can't believe how quick I was able to jump in there and stop it. But oh my God, my earbud came out and flew across the parking lot, like the driveway, when I jumped back in the car. It was a whole situation. So that's why I'm late. I do apologize. It took me a second because I was so shaken up. After you almost have a car accident, or if you do, how it wrecks your nerves. That's how I felt for the last 10 minutes. So I'm trying to get my shit together. I'm here. I'm happy to be here with you guys. Mayla's mom, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Love you, Allie, and your community. Continue doing what you're doing. Love being a member here because everyone accepts me having different views. I love you back, and thank you for everything. And thank you for being a member for 8 months. I'm telling you, Roxanne, it was not good. Been there. Thank goodness my driveway isn't on an incline. Mine's completely flat, but mom has a brick house and my car was really making its way closer to that house. Whew. Also, thank you, Girls Nana, for being a member for 10 months. Happy to be here. Me too. I'm glad we're getting back to the morning lives. That's a morning for sure, Angela. All right, let me say hello to you guys and we'll get started. I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk to you guys about. Bendy, I saw that you're here. If you're willing, I would love for you to come up and talk to me about a situation that I am having a hard time making sense of. And this is regarding that restraining order that was given to BHB. But let me say hello first and then I'll explain. Okay, so then I have a lot of things I want to show you that, I haven't really seen talked about in cases. Again, that's what we're going to do. I don't mean to keep saying the same shit over and over, but these lives will be a mix between maybe things that are more known and a bunch of things that probably you haven't heard about yet. But anyways, okay. Hey, Roro. Hey, preschool granny. Hey, pointer lover. Hey, Michelle. Hey, hippie chick. Thank you for being a member for 12 months. Hippie Chick says, I'm an early riser out here in Arizona. I love the early morning lives no matter what time they start. Thank you for being a member and thank you for that. And I hope you're doing okay. All right. Now I don't even know who all I have who all I've said hello to or not. Oh, Allie, you crack me up with all your silliness. Phone and water, feed the dolphins cake, throwing lighters. I know, Mayla's mom. I know. It's a problem. I'm sorry. It's definitely a problem, though. Hey, Rando, pointer lover. Hey, my cat's name is Karen. Welcome. Glad that you're here. Hey, Sprinkled Donut. Tess, thank you for being a member for 22 months. So thankful to know you, Allie, and call you my friend. Love you. Love this amazing community. Just feeling so darn blessed today. I love you, too, and thank you. I can't believe 22 months. That's a long time. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Okay, so you guys know we talked about this. Is what we're going to start with. We talked about this last week when these restraining orders happened, and then Betty was arrested. I think we talked about it right after she was arrested, and maybe even before. It's something I've wanted to keep a close eye on because it is a big deal. This happens from case coverage, and I want to say loud and clear before we even get into it. I think the things that have been said about Chris and Katie are horrific. The thumbnails, the shirts, the following Bauer socks, all of that stuff. Do not agree with it. We'll never support that. And I don't blame them. I can see why they would start to feel like they need to do something like this. I want to talk more about her violations and her arrest. So I had heard about, I don't know who, somebody had mentioned in a live that this woman named Megan Fox had reviewed the restraining orders and the restraining orders and then the arrest affidavit and all that. And so I guess she's, I found her on Twitter and then I found her channel, and she has a bigger channel, like 40,000 subscribers. So this woman, I guess one of her big things she talks about, this is what I took from it, is like First Amendment rights of the press. And so I don't believe that she knows Betty, but she's came in from that perspective. Now, during a live, and I'm going to show you guys, she actually gets the court paperwork for what is in the order, what Betty's not allowed to do, and then the affidavit for what caused the arrest. And I am curious, like, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I say, Jen, I would love for you to come up, because this is a big deal. Look, I've seen, like I've said last time we talked about it, lots of YouTubers, restraining orders, some that were able to get them, some that weren't, some that I could see maybe why they would do it, some that I wouldn't, whatever. You see a lot of that. But this is different because this is the family of a victim, of a missing child. And these channels use that child and his family every single day for their YouTube channels, for content, and I think that this is important to talk about. It's, it could affect everybody. We need to always keep in mind what's best for the victims and their families. And I think that we have to learn our place. We talked about how laws have changed in Florida because of the protesting and that kind of stuff. What happened in Summer Wells' case was nothing short of disgusting. Some of the things that were screamed about that baby at Dawn's job and other places, it was awful. Quentin Simon, awful. Like, I definitely see the problem there. But I am curious about this order and how this worked, because the long and the short of it, I'm going to play where she has the court documents and I screenshot the arrest affidavit. But in the order, I have it pulled up right to the timestamp where they basically explain what is not allowed. And it's, no contact, no like that kind of stuff that makes sense. Well, in the arrest affidavit, they cite these hashtags. Now, I don't necessarily think hashtags would be contact. I don't know. So we're going to go through it and kind of listen to it together. And Jen, if you want to come up, I would love to drop the link and get your thoughts on this, because those of you guys who don't know, my friend Jen, she has a channel, The Ward Case Studies. I'm going to drop the link right now, but she's been following court, true crime, but she was one of the first people I ever saw watching trials, kind of following court cases like that. And she has a very logical mind. So it's so hard knowing that parents that are supposed to protect and love are evil, says the real Gemini, no lie. It happens a lot. And we're going to talk about, after we get through this subject, I have several cases I want to talk to you guys about, and a missing woman and a few things like that. Rando Chicken Shy, hey, tell the truth. Hey, Katie. You don't want to know what I think about Megan Fox, the reporter, but I'll wait. No, I do want to know. I do want to know. You guys are free to share any opinions. And like I said, I don't want it to get twisted that I don't think that I support any of what's happening, because I do not. I find it all just really gross. But that's just where I'm at. But this is interesting. I'm lost. Yes, it is about Sebastian's case, but this is more about, so a YouTuber who was covering the case was given a restraining order by some of his family. And then she was arrested because that restraining order was violated. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Lynn. Hey, everybody coming in. Okay, Jen. Let's see. I'm going to send it through the phone just to And then let me pull up her video so I have Megan's video ready where I'm going to drop her link. I will go ahead and say her attitude towards, her attitude is unbecoming. She doesn't know anything about this situation, and it seems like she's already taken a side from the beginning. I will say that. Seems pretty biased, her perspective. Here. But she has the actual orders and the actual affidavit, which is really what I want to touch on. Okay. Now. And if you're lost with this, just hang in there with me because we're going to talk about many different things today. This is just where we're going to start. Okay, I accidentally sent the link to myself. Stupid. If BHB ever got involved with my family in any way, I'd probably wind up arrested myself. Yeah, me too. I've actually had friends that, have lived in areas when she's went there and they're like, I've had to warn my mom to watch out. Like, takes things way too far, obviously, which is why laws have been changed. I mean, look at with Quentin Simon. What happened outside of that house was absolutely disgusting. Don't get me wrong. Leilani Simon is she deserves it. But nobody else does. And yeah, I'll never forget when they're playing the screaming, crying baby and, all that kind of stuff. It's just way too far. But hashtags are intended for viral distribution, and the algorithms would contact them as a backdoor third party, which isn't allowed. That's what I'm curious about. Would a hashtag be contact? You know what I mean? Would that be considered contact? So where I have it in her video, we have the she's about to explain what is in the order that she's not allowed to do.
Contact any of these people. Let's look up to the ex parte hearing. The orders were granted, and she was told she could not contact any of these people. Let's look at the final order in the case. So this is the one that the judge signed. Share the link so you guys can check it out. And they're the same for every single one. So I'll just go to the top one. Come on, get up to the top. All right, they're the same for everyone. So we'll see what the court has ordered her
now, I will
not
say
to do.
Now that she said that in her belief, and I guess it could be dependent on a judge and any precedent set before this, right? This is going to set precedent for future cases, by the way, which is another reason it is such a big deal. But, her thoughts were a hashtag isn't contact, that you have to seek out by going to her channel to even see that you've been tagged. Now, if you have an @ symbol, and I've heard this argued before in other cases, like I said, one more time, I just want to say I didn't appreciate. I felt that seemed that there was already some bias happening from the get-go and by the tone of this. And I really would have appreciated this so much more if there was no bias there, if that didn't come across in the video. It is my wind chimes. Maybe I should take them down. Gob says she violates the order daily by still using Sebastian's name. Well, that's another thing. In the order, it doesn't say she's not allowed to say his name, but she's not allowed to contact. Here, let's listen to it and then we'll talk, okay? This is what it says that she's not allowed.
The court orders respondent to obey all orders on this form, not abuse or threaten to abuse petitioner or petitioner's minor children, not stalk or threaten to stalk petitioner or petitioner's minor children, No contact. You must not come about the petitioner, including coming by.
So obey all orders. She's ordered not abuse or threaten to abuse the petitioner or their children, to not stalk or threaten to stalk the petitioner or their children. Then no contact. You must not come about the petitioner for any purpose and must not contact the petitioner and the petitioner's children, either directly or indirectly, by phone, email, messages, text messages, mail, or any type of communication or contact. Stay away. You must stay away from the petitioner's home, workplace, children's home and workplace, and you must not threaten to hurt animals, cause intentional damage. But the contact part is right here. So Jen's here. So let me bring her up. Because does this mean that, orders of protection are not meant to, orders of protection aren't meant to keep someone from speaking at all. And they're also not meant, you're supposed to get one. Okay, so if somebody's like going live about you and they're lying on you over and over, that would be slander, defamation, harassment, criminal harassment. But, order of protection means that you feel you're in physical danger of this person, is the way that I understand it. Jen, what are your thoughts so far?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying that all of this could have been avoided, any ambiguity and in these orders and exactly what she's allowed or not allowed to do, if she had shown up to the hearing in the first place.
Yeah.
You see, when you don't show up and you don't respond, then the judge is going to grant all of the requests within reason from the petitioner, period. And will probably be a little harsher and would grant requests that maybe they would not ordinarily grant. Number one, because you didn't show up and argue, right? Why that shouldn't happen. And number two, when you don't show up, to court, it is seen by the court as basically wasting the court's time. It's rude. And the court after they really don't like when they feel that their time is being wasted.
Yeah.
And this is where the problem is. So I want to say this. Now, I am not an attorney. Okay. But I do know a little bit about a lot of things, and some of it is from life experience. Not this necessarily. However, if you get a summons to court, it is not a request. It is not an invitation. They're not asking you to RSVP. It is a demand to take your ass to court. You have to show up. Either you show up or your lawyer shows up, but somebody on your behalf must show up, period. It's not an option. It's not a multiple choice. And this is probably, and the reason why some of this stuff is ambiguous to the respondent, because she chose not to show up, period.
Well, here's what it says with contact, because this is now, I want to know, is this considered contact? Because this really, truly confuses me and me. Because I think it should be clear, which, like I said, I'm sure this will set precedent for future cases, maybe whatever happens in this. Okay, but so she's been ordered, it says no contact. You must not come about the petitioner for any purpose and must not contact the petitioner and petitioner's children, either directly or indirectly by phone, email, messages, text messages, mail, or any other type of communication or contact. Now, I do have she also had the arrest affidavit, which shows exactly what the police considered contact. So I want to show you that and see what you think about that. So it's right here. It's a little blurry because I screenshot it from her live.
Okay.
But it says on August the 22nd, these separate protection orders were granted against the defendant by the judge. The petitioners on the protection orders are Katie and Chris's parents. According to the orders, the defendant cannot come about the petitioners for any purpose and must not contact them or their children, either directly or indirectly, by phone, email, messages, text messages, mail, or any other type of communication or contact. On the 22nd, shortly after the hearing, the petitioner named the defendant, or the petitioners learned the defendant went live on her channel and proceeded to blast how people were talking on social media about court and what took place because the defendant failed to appear for court. The defendant threatened to sue the Proudfoots and the Bowersocks multiple times and hashtagged, so she didn't threaten them, she threatened to sue, which is not illegal, but here's where I don't know. So multiple times in hashtags, hashtag Chris Proudfoot, Katie Proudfoot, their minor son Sebastian on her YouTube stream, can't fix stupid. Then she had another stream titled The Garbage of YouTube and hashtagged Chris, Katie, and their minor son Sebastian. Based on the facts and statements, your affiant believes the defendant violated the orders. So I'm assuming by hashtagging them, is that contact? Because, Megan, and I've heard this be ordered before, or not ordered, I'm sorry. I've heard this be talked about before and kind of debated that by hashtagging someone, are you contacting them? Or do you have to specifically use the @ symbol to contact them? What do you think, Jen?
Well, let's test this. Will hold up in court? Well, let's test this theory out, okay? I'm going to put in hashtag Katie. Let me put it the right way. Proud. Oops, I don't know how to spell apparently. All right. Whoops. Apparently, I still don't know how to spell. Jesus, Jen. I'm not all the way awake. Give me just a second. All right. So let me share my screen, Allie, if you don't mind.
Okay. 1 second. Let me just get this comment off the screen. All right. I see it back there.
All right. So there's the hashtag. All right. Let's push enter and see what happens.
Okay.
Every time she's hashtag, it comes up. Now, with my algorithm will be different because but it comes up. Talking to Katie Proudfoot, like to Santa, always shocking truth live. Did Sebastian's parents commit crimes? Chris and Proudfoot are innocent. I have no idea why this is their interview. These are her more interviews. Let's see what else we have here. My algorithm will be different due to the fact that I don't watch BHB. So you see the chances of it coming up for me are smaller, right?
Right.
But you see what comes up. All of it, it depends on what they're looking at, right? What will come up. All right. So again, if there was this is why it's important to show up.
Yeah.
Because had she shown up, this is what I'll say this. I think that had she shown up, I think it was most likely that the order of protection was going to be granted. Okay. And I think that it has to do with the fact that she does not reside in the state of Tennessee. We all know that. I mean, it's common knowledge. She's very open about where she does live. And for somebody to drive to a state that they don't live in, and then there's video evidence of while she was in Tennessee, driving in their neighborhood and also driving by their home multiple times. Okay. And on top of that, the things that she said. See, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And while you have the right to free speech, this is not a First Amendment issue. Okay. Because first of all, the First Amendment isn't really about shit talking. Okay. It's really about your ability to be critical of the government, but that's a civics class and I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, the bottom line is this. When you have a large platform and you state outright that somebody disappeared their child, when you have thumbnails where you ask with blood everywhere, and you say and you write in the title, did so and so do the unthinkable? All of those, I don't think it was a single action. I think it was the totality of all of it. No, Rando, she drove by the house prior, and I think what I'm trying to explain is, how did we get here to the order in the first place, and then discussing the order. So you don't get notified if you have a YouTube channel. Even if you don't put any content on it, everybody that comments in a live chat or in the comment section has a channel. The difference between having a channel and being a content creator is fairly straightforward. You put content up, but you all have one. So if you go to your, if you're watching on your phone, right, and you go and you look at your channel, or you look at notifications, you can see where you've got, if you get comments, if you get mentions, you get notified if a video of yours gets shared if you're a content creator. But if you just have a channel, I like Lil Red, I could tag her right now and put @Lil Red, but use her, like, everybody has a different, their handle might not be the same as what shows up on the screen. Bottom line is, she doesn't have a channel that she puts content on, but I can still tag her. That is a direct tag. But hashtags are not a direct tag the same way. Like, you don't get notified, but if you search hashtags, you will, depending on what you watch, you can see it.
Sarah, just YouTube with the hashtags, I believe. Now, no, I guess it could come up in your Google search, because, any YouTube videos will, based on the hashtag. But okay, Jen, so what do you think? Excuse me. I think this is going to be a good argument for her attorney. Now, the judge, it might be will it be up to his discretion? Like, that's the way I take it, is the judge could say, no, I don't think a hashtag is considered contact. Or he could say, no, a hashtag is indirect contact. What are you expecting? But I don't think that they can tell her she can't talk about this case. Am I right or wrong? I don't know. I really don't know. I'm confused. That's why I wanted you up here.
I don't think that they can specifically tell her you cannot speak about this case. But what they can do is admonish her and tell her that you need to refrain from making accusations. You see, what Betty did, in my opinion, and my opinion means absolutely nothing. This is going to be up to the court at the end of the day, but it is, I would say, a word of caution. When you have a large platform and you say things like, why did they take this order out after the other minor child left? Is it there? If I put them in danger, then that means their home is dangerous, blah, blah, blah. You know what she said. It was a dog whistle. And if you don't know what a dog whistle is a way of saying, is a way to incite people. It's a call to action without implicitly expressing the call to action. Just saying it in a roundabout way without directly saying it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. It's a problem whether you have a big channel or a small channel, regardless. But the bigger your channel is, and the more platforms you are on, because remember, she's not just on the tubes. She has other social media platforms.
Well, okay. So I agree with you. I like that thumbnail with Katie and the blood and stuff. That was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I personally, in my opinion, don't believe any of the parents are involved. And just out of caution, even if I did, I think that out of precaution or whatever, however you say it, I would rather not accuse someone that could be innocent, even if I did think they were. So I find all of that really disgusting. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to this order and was it violated, because she was violated 6 times, I guess for each live stream, they were all tagged Like, so Chris, Katie, Sebastian, I guess that's it, right? But is that
she got 2 counts. She got 2 counts of a violation for each order. There were 3 orders, 2 times 3, 6.
Yeah. So will this stand? Will a judge say that is contact or not? Because technically a hashtag isn't contacting someone. It's for search purposes. But is it indirect contact? I don't know. I think that is that up to his discretion, the judge?
Well, okay. The judge has discretion, but the judge's discretion is based on law. And I'm not from, I've never resided in Tennessee. If I spoke on it, I don't know. I don't know what the judge can do. What I will say is this. This process to me, it looks like is this. This is an affidavit. It's no different than like a probable cause affidavit. It's the same thing.
Right.
Where, law enforcement it's a sworn statement. It's taken under oath, right? And they present the evidence. Now, there was evidence presented and a warrant was granted.
Right. Yeah.
So obviously, whatever judge they went to, if it's not the same judge, obviously saw it the same way they did. And just because all we're seeing is the paperwork, obviously they can't, they put what they can in writing. They're not, if there were videos that were introduced into evidence along with this affidavit, we obviously are not going to see those because they can't be printed.
She is disrespectful and rando. I don't think this one explicitly mentions social media. I have a feeling that's going to be coming, though, because of all of this. I think that, of course, a judge signed the warrant, but at the end of the day, an arrest affidavit is, she has a chance to fight that. Her attorney will have a chance to argue all of this stuff. So it is interesting. Also, it's important. This is a big deal. I think it is because we have
a huge deal. It's a huge deal.
And who has been. I mean, she has taken it too far, in my personal opinion. I truly do believe that. But I'm just curious of like the black and white of the law around this and how this is going to end up. A good attorney, I think, could have a good argument for it wasn't contact. But in that case, like in my opinion, what I could see, I don't know, I could just see them writing some social media stuff into the order from that point forward. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but she's continued to talk about it every single day. So I don't know.
Look, here's the thing. Okay. This has been coming for a long time, not specifically for BHB, but for true crime content creators, just in general. Okay. There's been a couple of documentaries. Paramount just did one not that long ago in which BHB was featured. Now, my perception of how she was portrayed in that video or in that documentary was not in the best light. It wasn't in the worst light, but it wasn't in the best light either. So the fact of the matter is, there's a reason why mainstream media does some of the things that they do. And it is to avoid situations like these. You have to be responsible in the things that you say. You are responsible for the things that you say. And I know that everybody this is a First Amendment. This is a First Amendment. Okay. Your freedom of speech really in the First Amendment was initially, it was about being able to be critical of the government.
Yes.
Okay. That's how it started out. Now there's freedom of the press. There's all kinds of, okay. But when your freedoms infringe on another person's freedoms, then there becomes a problem. And so that's when the judges, that's when the judge and the lawyers are going to hash it out. And the truth of the matter is, laws are written and in black and white all the time, all the time. It is the interpretation of those laws That's where lawyers come in. That's where judges come in, because what will happen is, so the state has picked up these charges, okay, against Betty. So the state is going to argue their perception of the law. And then Betty's attorney, should she have one, or if she represents herself, I don't know, doesn't matter either way, it goes the same. Then she or the lawyer will argue their perception of the laws, and the judge will be the arbitrator of the law.
Right.
So it's all why put yourself in that situation? Why do that in the first place?
My point exactly.
Yay. Okay, it is Grandma Sherry. I was going to tell Jen that you were up here with us. And also, you guys, I do know some of you haven't followed this. I just think it's important regardless, because of what we do here, talking about true crime and that kind of thing. And also the internet catching up with, oh man, I thought I took the overlay off. The internet catching up with, or the laws catching up with the internet. Okay, Grandma Sherry, go ahead.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for coming up.
Thanks. I've got a lot to say about this, because I've been, after Miss Fox did her thing, and I haven't watched all of it. I've just heard the responses that she doesn't understand Betty's history and stuff like that. But my point that I've been delving into things is that our laws and our government need to catch up with the internet. They're just now starting to do it. Decades later. I did a stream on something that just passed the Senate, and Gavin Newsom in California has been putting pressure on social media platforms to make access to questionable content for children harder. And so the point is, this is where we get down to a word in law. It's called a precedent. And unfortunately, I don't have a way to shepherdize precedents on this, because they're not laws yet. These are individual interpretations of what the general law, it's called no coffee yet. The letter, there's the letter of the law, which says, code number 4.05, right? And then there is the spirit of the law.
Right. Which is where lawyers come in, the interpretation of the law.
Exactly. And because we don't have specific laws regarding what is and what is not applicable to social media, and I'm not a lawyer, I just pretend to be one on YouTube.
But, no, I agree with you, Grandma Sherry. I've talked about that in the past when we were talking about, I think it was harassment in another situation, if I'm not mistaken. But we were talking about how social media, when the laws were written, we didn't have social media, and people get away with a lot on here when it comes to what they say about other people and just, it can be pretty bad, and you'll still see these people continue. You'll see the videos stay up. I don't know. We have to catch up with it, because it's becoming a problem. It allows people to think that they can just do and say whatever they want, which you can to an extent, but not when you're harassing someone. And I don't think that, there's a lot like the effect that this could have on that person who's being harassed. It can really be life-changing to deal with social media harassment in one way or another, lies being told about you. I can't imagine if it was about your missing child.
Right.
I wish there were laws set up for victims and their families when it comes to this stuff. And maybe
there are.
Go ahead.
There are. Go ahead, Grandma Sherry.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry.
No,
in certain states, and right now, this is how action happens. Okay. It starts on a small level, and then it goes to a federal level in the United States. I'm sure there are similar processes in other countries, but there are several states that have laws against cyberbullying. And
Right.
please understand that this is just a general legal information and conversation. It does not constitute professional legal advice for your particular situation.
If you need professional legal advice, call a lawyer.
Exactly.
That's their job.
Well, I mean, I know that there's some now I know some states are even more aggressive with the cyberbullying than others. There are new revenge prawn laws going on, in some states and things like that. But I don't know of anything that specifically protects like these family members and the coverage because when these cases blow up, I mean, I don't know, is there something like that happening?
Well, this is the problem. Okay. And this is why the laws haven't caught up. It's not because they're not trying to catch up. They are trying to catch up. But here's where the problem arises. Allie lives in a different state than I do. So if I cyberbully Allie, who has jurisdiction? I did it in the Floridas, but I did it to somebody who lives in where Allie lives in a different state. So whose law applies? Does Florida's law apply? Or does where Allie resides apply? Is the jurisdiction where the perpetrator of the crime committed the crime, or does the jurisdiction exist where the victim resides? And that is where the law is having a hard time catching up, because in the United States, yes, we have federal laws. However, as you can see this is a perfect example, the multa, the Mary Jane, while it is federally illegal, each state can legalize it if they want to. Do you see what I'm saying? So so that is, it's the same sort of principle on some of these laws. Now, obviously, CP, well, what did I say it was?
CSAM.
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 That's different, okay? Because obviously, but this is where the law is having a hard time, because let's say Allie decides to press charges against me, okay? And where is she going to go first? She's going to go first to her local government, right? So she goes to her local police department. They issue a warrant for my arrest. All right. I show up. I turn myself in because likely it's going to be a misdemeanor, and most misdemeanors aren't extraditable. Okay. So I show up and turn myself in. All right. And I get convicted and I get 6 months probation. Okay. I could, if I wanted to, then appeal it. And if I appeal it to a higher court, what if the higher court finds that Allie's state does not have jurisdiction? That's what they're trying to avoid, is clogging up the legal system with appeals. And so they're trying to figure it out.
I saw something like this take place not long ago, and I know the person was told they had to file where the other person lived, because that's where the crime was technically committed.
Well, and that's a gray area too, because if you look at Ickadmel and Upchurch, it was just decided that the rule of law will follow the victim. But that's up to the court, because the crime or the tort, the injury happened in one state, but it was perceived in another state. I know that England has the thing where it doesn't matter where you do it, the person got hurt in England, and that's the way they look at their laws. And in the United States, because our First Amendment was written in 1791. We really didn't even have newspapers back then.
Right.
So, if I wrote something scathing about Bendy Lou in my newspaper, in my little town.
Dare you, Grandma Sherry? Everybody knows Bendy Lou is an effing delight.
They do. And that's part of my public apology in the printed version that was up on the Town Square Post.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Look, there's a case of catfish that goes back to the United. There's the girl who was the catfish, who catfished a guy from the Denver Nuggets. Okay, not just catfished. It escalated to then extortion. Okay, she lives in Canada. All right. And it is not a crime. It's not the level of a crime where the United States would go and extradite her. Okay. MTV's Catfish covered it. It's years and years ago. What happened was she catfished a basketball player on the Denver Nuggets. And then there was another girl who started writing to this player and went out to see him, and she was a minor at the time, and the girl from Canada was extorting him. It was a whole big thing. I cannot remember their name right now, but should this girl, and she went to prison in Canada, and should this girl ever step foot in the United States, then they will punish her, but they're not going to go get her for it. This is a very complex issue. And I think some of what we're arguing, and we have to be careful of this, it really should be two separate discussions. We can either discuss the law or we can discuss morality. But they're two different issues for the courts. We may feel ethically the things that people that some creators have done ethically and morally are wrong, but that doesn't necessarily translate into illegalities.
Right. Okay. The chat is lost a little bit, a couple people. So let me just explain. We're going to move on to actually a few other cases after this, but there was a creator by the name of Megan Fox. I guess the way that I perceive it is she's big on speaking out against First Amendment rights, journalists, all that kind of stuff. And she basically takes this stance that, knowing nothing about the situation, that this arrest was wrongful, that in Betty's order, which in her order, it says no contact, indirect or direct. Now, Melissa, I'm really curious on your opinion on this, because she, in the affidavit, she never contacted them, but in the affidavit, what the police considered contact was the hashtags on her video. She hashtagged their names on 2 different lives, Katie, Chris, and Sebastian. So that was 6 times that the order was violated. Now, this journalist doesn't believe that that's contact. She says you would have to seek that out by going to her channel. But if they do say direct or indirect contact, and many people here believe that, like Grandma Sherry said from the beginning, she does believe that is contact. So that's kind of the discussion that we were having. And then just one more thing. Thank you, Brian. Brian says courts don't care whether or not the person who committed a crime in their state lives in their state. Just look at the TikTok wacko psychic who is being sued for lying on that poor teacher in the Brian Koberger case. Thank you, Brian. That's a good point, by the way, with that case. But yeah, so that was the discussion that we were having. And then Grandma Sherry and Jen, Solo Angel Mom, her comment that was up here, I wanted to get your thoughts on that, was about, Kylie Rodney's situation, Ryan Upchurch. There's also a lawsuit happening there that's going to set precedent too. And then we have Icked Mail, that part of it. Let me see exactly where her comment said. I might have lost it, but.
Well, what I'll say about the YouTuber Megan Fox is this. It's fine to have an opinion. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I would maybe make the suggestion that in a case such as this, circumstances such as these, it would be advantageous to said creator to do their due diligence and research all of it before forming an opinion. I can understand the inclination because you're a creator yourself from wanting, and being worried that this is going to have some long-reaching impacts on your own content, right? And so therefore you take the stance of, well, it's freedom of speech, point blank, period, the end, and that's that, right? But I think that I've seen her, looked at her channel and the content that she's done recently, and she purports to be basically an investigative journalist. And I'm not here to argue her credentials or whatever, but investigative journalist means something very specific. And so if you're going to if you're going to use the term investigative, then you should be doing the investigation. You should investigate, meaning you should investigate the person you're about to comment on as thoroughly as possible, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? All of it. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah.
Take
and
that for
people
what
were
it's
coming
worth.
in there telling her to research, and she was like, I don't have time to do it all. That was brought up in there. She's like, I don't have the time. I've watched a couple of her videos. I'm going by the arrest affidavit and the protection order, basically.
Yeah, but the judge is going by the totality, the body of work. They're going by what she's been in trouble for in her past. They're going to look it up. Any conviction, they can see all of it. They can see arrests. They can see convictions. They can see where somebody's pled nolo contendere, which is just essentially, no contest. They can see it all. And they're going to base their decision on the totality of the evidence, all of the evidence, not one piece here, one piece there. All of it together forms for the judge a picture.
And it's all going to be referenced back to excuse me. Every lawyer has in their office either a hard copy or a digital copy of something called Black's Law Dictionary. And this is a dictionary put together. It's in its second edition right now, but put together by a cumulative spirit and letter of laws. Okay. And so in Black's Law Dictionary, nonverbal communication is considered things like body language, flipping the bird, facial expressions, tone, that sort of thing. But it's also the delivery of meaning or messages through a medium that does not involve speaking. And so that would be hashtags, right?
I guess.
Interesting.
Yes.
I mean,
if you go by that, a communication channel is the way a message is sent to the audience in print or broadcast. Social media is considered broadcast because it reaches a large audience. It's broad and it's thrown out there. It's cast. Okay.
Well, let's see what happens if somebody is hashtag. Allie, I'm going to make a post on my second account and I'm going to hashtag you. Let me know if you get, I don't know, maybe it'll work. Let's do it the opposite way. You make a post and hashtag you, my smaller channel, and then make a post and hashtag my bigger channel. And let's see how YouTube does it. This is I only know how, let's recreate it and see if you log into your YouTube account. I'm curious if I will get notified of the hashtag because one channel has 10,000, one channel has like 645. Let's see what YouTube does with it. I'm just curious. Let's recreate this because I think this is it's going to come down to in the courtroom. Let's see if we can figure it out.
That's just within the YouTube verse.
Right.
Hashtagging, because YouTube is owned by Google, which is a search engine, and other search engines like DuckDuckGo and Edge and all those other things, they kind of interconnect to see what's trending, and they'll pull up those results as well. So a hashtag is considered a method of communication because it allows users to categorize and connect with others discussing the same topic, essentially facilitating conversation and information sharing around a specific theme or keyword. So
right.
it is
So she wouldn't necessarily have to go to YouTube to see it. All she would have to do is go to Google and search it. Her own name.
Okay. Well, let me go to Google and search, but she would have to search, I guess. But okay, so I have seen this come up in another in another case, and the judge never said specifically, like, because it was such a jumbled mess. Like, she never said specifically if she considered it communication or not. But I have seen it argued where, in court, that it wasn't. So it's really interesting. But okay, so I did the hashtag to you, Jen. Let me say thank you to MK for gifting 5 memberships.
Let me see what happens.
And then also, I'm going to put your name in Google and see if the post comes up, because you're right, Grandma Sherry. So would hashtags on all social media accounts, or on all social media platforms, all be able to be found on Google? Like, if you hashtag someone's name on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube, if you Google it, it will all come up. I mean, they'll all come up, or right? Is that what you mean?
Because okay, in social movements like, X and Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and Telegram and all those places, hashtags are used to organize and to amplify social movements by bringing together people discussing that particular issue. So,
hey, Trulia,
I don't get notified of the hashtag, just FYI.
No, you don't get notifications.
I just wanted to see because I feel like this is what the judge should do, to figure out exactly what hashtag, you know what I'm saying? If they're going to try to interpret the letter of the law, I feel like this is something that an attorney, maybe not the judge, but the attorney might do. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's just see exactly what it is, what it does.
Her defense attorney is going to have to delve into that.
Yeah.
And they're going to really have to rabbit hole down to not just what a hashtag is in social media, but also communication and broadcasting and just how this information gets out there. Because if I have a restraining order against Jen Lou, because of the scandalous things I posted in 1791, then, me going into the bathroom, into the outhouse, in the town square, and writing stuff about Jen Lou there is also a form of communication, because I'm trying to get that information out to other people. And I am infamous for really bad analogies, so please forgive me.
No, that's actually a good analogy.
No, that's great.
Because think about it back in the day, right? When we were in school in the 80s and the 90s, not you, Ellie. You if you saw this kind of stuff in the 80s, I don't know what kind of school you went to or what you were looking at in kindergarten, but it's a problem. But when I was in school,
I was born in 89, but
yeah, so you wouldn't have seen it. So anyway, remember, we've all been in the girls' room, ladies. I don't know what's written in the boys' room because I've never been in there, but in the ladies' room, you could find out who did what with whom and who was on the list, right, by just going into the girls' bathroom. That's where all the gossip was at. So I take your meaning. Mm-hmm.
The same thing happens in the boys' bathroom, because obviously everybody got Jenny's phone number, the 867-5309, from somewhere.
Yeah,
so I'm just saying. But
okay.
Remember those written for a good time call, and they would put girls' phone numbers?
Yes, exactly.
I mean, it's not that. Yeah.
Wolfie, will you get Grandma Sherry's link for me? I think it's in the Nightbot, but I don't remember the thing for it. So, thank you, Pointer Lover. You dropped it. Never mind. Pointer Lover just dropped it, and I'm dropping Jen's. You guys, please check out their channels. Both of these ladies have great channels, and I appreciate you guys letting me pick your brain, because the argument made sense to me a little bit. That it felt like it was a good argument that Megan Fox had, and I guess Betty might use this, but I don't know. But she said basically you would have to seek out her channel to see that you had been hashtagged.
No.
So
no, you would seek out the hashtag. It's like, you know, if you go on X and I want to find out something about, you know, the Trump assassination attempt, I'm going to put in there hashtag Trump assassination or something along that line. I'm going to look for that. If I'm looking for Sebastian Rogers, I'm going to hashtag Sebastian Rogers. That's how people find your post, because I get people that I'm not following, you know, because I'm searching at a hashtag. And
I thought of
and
something.
we need, me too. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you finish. I didn't mean to have an outburst. My 5-hour and coffee haven't kicked in and melded together, so I'm a little bit wild and out. But I recognize it, so that means the kick in is imminent. So you finish, and then I'll say what I was going to say.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to say is people say First Amendment, First Amendment, First Amendment. We have to stop and look at when these things were written. At that time, the founding fathers were confronting what they called, you know, a tyrannical reign of a king, George. Okay. And if you said anything against King George, the way he was dressed or anything else, that was considered political and you could be imprisoned for it. Being in the new colonies, the new United States, they were writing things with those things in mind. So the freedom of speech is the right to speak, including offensive words and phrases used to convey a political message. And like I said, I haven't had the time to shepherdize all this to see, you know, how it boils down. There's a lot of 1A people on YouTube that would know way more about this than I ever would. But the point is that
we should look and see if they're covering this.
Grandma Sherry, yeah, I forgot about that. There's a whole 1A community, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you said that, okay. All right, interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious what their thoughts are on this.
And so the point is that I know with several cases, and I can't quote them, but that it's come down to the point where when what you say and do, or specifically what you say, has been offensive and harmful, like defamation, slander, libel to another person, that's considered illegal, that's considered against the law because of the injury, because of the tort that you've caused to this other person by your words. So that, in essence, overwrites, quote, the First Amendment.
Right. Oh, it's so interesting to me. This. Yeah. Melissa says, no, but that's not direct communication. It shows an intent to continue harassment. The @ symbol is considered direct communication because the person gets notified they receive an alert and email. But it was also in the order indirect communication. So it said direct or indirect. Okay.
And it says any other communication. Any other communication. And that's the broad net that is, it's such a gray area. It's really nebulous as to how that is or would be applied in a court of law, because any other communication could be hashtags, could be writing Jen Lou's phone number on the bathroom wall, you know, all of that kind of thing.
Well, I've changed it, Grandma Sherry, so let me give you the updated number, babe. I don't want you to, if you're going to write my number on the bathroom wall, I want it to be the correct number.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, babe.
No problem. Yeah, I'm always looking out, you know.
There's probably some grandma in Peoria who's getting all these phone calls and she's going, what the heck? Who this?
Yeah,
new
who's
phone
Bindi? New phone, who dis? Who's Bindi?
Yes, new phone. Yeah.
Okay, so what I
Here's what Grandma.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, Abby.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bindi. No, I want to. I just want to say on the screen is what Grandma Sherry was talking about in the order where it says any other type of communication or contact, and I'll leave that up so you guys can look at it while we finish our conversation. Okay, go ahead, Bindi.
Okay, so also now because we are on YouTube, we sort of forget about all the other social media platforms and how they work, right? but when you go to TikTok, all right, even if you're on your For You and you're just scrolling TikTok, if you come across a video and you're watching it, at the bottom, it will, if it's something that's been searched, I'm not exactly sure how TikTok works completely, but I will say that a lot of times it'll come across the bottom and it'll say search such and such. So if, let's say Katie went to TikTok and she didn't search BHB, she searched her son's name or her own name. TikTok it will come up with all kinds of stuff. And so, I think the problem is, Katie may be searching things, articles or content about her son because, she's looking for her son. And law enforcement watches social media too. And they are aware, they pay attention to Facebook public groups, Facebook private groups, Twitter, all the things, because there are people who commit crimes who interject themselves. They can't help it. They brag. And that's what they're looking out for. And Katie, it's entirely possible that she's doing the same thing, that she's keeping an eye on social media for the exact same reason. Maybe she's looking to see if Sebastian himself posts and tries to get a message to her, something that they share that only she and Sebastian know. There's any number of reasons. And so I think that what's going to happen in court is it's definite. However the judge finds, is he or she is going to explain it to BHB and write it in orders in no uncertain terms, so she understands exactly what she can and cannot do, period. And she might get, she might get away with it this time. The judge might say, this is too ambiguous, yada, 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 whatever. And it might end up being dismissed. And she might just get a warning. Or she might get in trouble. I don't know. I've never seen a situation like this.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Grimsbury. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I asked Uncle Google, what does communication means? And it means the imparting or exchanging of information or news. That's the first thing that comes up. The means of sending or receiving information, such as phone lines or computers. And right now, our laws, and this is something that we really, really need to be very gentle with, because it's a very, very thin line with regard to censorship, in regard to silencing anything. Like, Mark Zuckerberg just said that, Facebook and Meta, Instagram, were pressured by the government during C-19 to, demote, is what they call, basically put people in Facebook jail if they were saying anything about C-19, which is why people on YouTube are still having the issue, with saying the word COVID. The thing is that if our laws get to a point where we say, okay, hashtag is a means of communication and can be considered, as being in contempt of an order because of a restraining order or gag order or whatever the thing is, then that's going to be misused. It's going to be misused everywhere, because anybody who hashtags or speaks about something that somebody else doesn't like could then be brought up under that specific law. And so it's such a gray area right now.
Yeah. It's honestly really crazy. And I hope that it gets cleared up soon. I hope that there are, changes made. Like you said, the First Amendment was written in the 1700s. So, and Patricia had said, when it was written, people would get the death penalty for speaking out against the monarch or whatever, against the king and queen. So that was the purpose of it. But okay, so a couple of you guys, let me just be so that, because people that came in late can't see, I want to just walk you through exactly what it says, just the part that is that we're discussing. So
I'll be right back, Allie, okay?
Okay, Bendy. This is her order on the screen, and in her order it says no contact. You must not come about the petitioner for any purpose and must not contact her, the petitioner, or their children, either directly or indirectly by phone, email, messages, text messages, mail, or any other type of communication or contact. And then you guys said that you couldn't see the on her arrest affidavit. This is what the officer considered breaking that. It says that, the order said no contact, either directly or indirectly. And on 8/22, she went live on her YouTube channel and she discussed people talking about court, where she hashtags Chris Proudfoot, Katie Proudfoot, and their minor son, hashtag Sebastian Rogers, on her YouTube stream, Can't Fix Stupid Tennessee. On August the 22nd at 12 noon, she does another live, where she hashtags them again. Based on these facts and statements, your affiant believes the defendant has violated the conditions of the 3 separate protection orders twice on this date. Therefore, your affiant is charging her with 6 counts of violation of an order of protection for the live streams, and this officer considered the hashtags to be direct or indirect contact. I brought this up because another person who doesn't know any of the situation, didn't do any research, did a live stream where they went through the orders and her arrest affidavit, and she's apparently a journalist that is very concerned about freedoms of the press. And so that's why she's talking about this. And she believed that this was an unlawful arrest. I'm not going to play any of her video. I'll link it one more time right now for anyone who's interested. I'm not going to play it because her tone was extremely disrespectful to the folks who did fill out the protection orders. And I do believe that they had a good reason to do that. She was kind of acting a little, I would be scared. I mean, it didn't seem that she was 100% all there. Like something was going on. She was being very invasive, saying the most awful stuff, making the biggest accusations, coming in person to their homes and their works and, where they're out shopping and all of that. So I don't want to play it because I did feel her commentary was pretty disrespectful when she's going through what they wrote to get the orders, because she also goes through all of that in this video. She was, a little, I don't know. I just didn't like it. So I'm going to link it right now. If you guys are interested, you can go watch it. So we were just kind of having the discussion on if we believe that it is or isn't contact. So, okay. Hope that explained it good for everybody. When she was served, Patricia says, when she was served with the RO for Katie, she had not directly contacted her, but she was still issued the RO.
But she was on her
for what I'm. Yeah. And you don't have to contact her to get the RO. Like if you're just scared for your life based on her actions, like Grandma Sherry said, she was on her property. She mentioned, what did she say about getting a gun? Something like, I'm going to do a PayPal, or I don't remember what it was, or some kind of fundraiser to get it done.
Exactly. And okay. And here's the thing that I've seen is that BHB is holding the contention in that affidavit for her arrest, where it says the affiant, blah, blah, Sumner County. And she was saying, I was in my house in Manatee County, Florida. And the point is that it's not where you were, where the offense was committed. It's where the injury was committed. And that was in Sumner County.
Right.
I am so glad you said that, because when I watched Betty, because she was like, they lied on here. They said this took place in Tennessee and I was in Florida, and she like, this is unlawful. It's lies. It's blah, blah, blah. And I thought, wait a minute. These offenses did occur in Sumner County, meaning in Sumner County, I was contacted by Katie, who told me the defendant was live on her YouTube channel, not meaning you were in Sumner County when you were live, meaning the oh God, she just twisted it. I know exactly what you're talking about. And that was extremely frustrating. That is not what it meant.
No, it's where the person that she committed the act against resides. The other issue is this. Those lives that are referenced in this affidavit happened while court was still in session, apparently. That's one of the allegations. And so can you imagine you have extended this hearing for the person due to the fact that they live out of state, right? And then they don't bother to show up, right? But while court is in session still, apparently, you're live talking about what's going on in the courtroom. Also, once that RO is granted, okay, to say out loud on a public platform, I'm going to sue you, can be taken then as a threat, because the court has already established that this person is a victim of your behavior and speech, and now you're saying I'm going to sue you. That's also a problem. This is what I'll say. This would be my advice. Shut up. Stop talking. If you're going to sue somebody, you don't tell the person that you're going to sue them. Don't warn the person. Do what you're going to do. Handle it offline, period. Talk about it after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, this is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah.
Well, and it all boils down, if you look at the warrant, it says that it is contempt or in violation of the court order. The court order said, these are the things you're not supposed to contact her, email, blah, 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 blah. But the whole thing in general, so he's using hashtags. I mean, he could have put in there and should have put in there that she was actually speaking their names and on the situation, and not just hashtags. That would have been great, but hindsight 2020. But the point is that the whole thing was in violation or contempt of the court order.
Correct. And by the way, maybe don't speak about the situation respective to the RO hearing, respective to the people who petitioned, not an RO, it's a PO. Respective to the situation just in general, until you understand the situation. Yeah. If you don't understand the terms, if you don't understand the order, wouldn't it be more prudent to just be quiet, not say anything at all? You say, you know, and get an attorney to interpret it for you. And if you still have questions, have your attorney contact the court so you know exactly what you can and can't do before you do it. Because remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Exactly. And she had an attorney, according to her.
Right.
The one that said, you don't have to show up. Which to me is, you know, I don't know what the game plan, the end game is in all of this. But because of PHB, there have been laws enacted, and it wasn't just the laundry thing, okay? Because she protested at somebody from the city council or the school board or something. She protested at his house too. So there were several instances that caused that law to go into effect. But the point is that because of people like BHB is why our governments, our legislations need to look into the nuances of things that are happening in order to protect people in general. And I think that's what we're seeing this is real time how our government works to protect us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very interesting.
Go ahead,
Sarah,
Ellen. Go ahead.
yeah.
This is going to be interesting. This is going to be a precedent setting. And I'll say this also with respect to what her attorney allegedly said or didn't say. We weren't there. We don't know. Does it sound like something that an attorney would say? No. I can't imagine any officer of the court ever saying, don't show up, unless there was a waiver of appearance filed and the attorney can appear in your place. You don't have to appear. We don't know what the attorney said to her. And it's very possible that the attorney may have told her that. If I give you a waiver, if I file for a waiver of appearance, then you don't have to appear. It happens on a regular basis where something gets said and the person that it's said about or to interprets it entirely differently than the sayer said it. You know what I'm saying? Than whoever said its intentions. So, I think that I wouldn't. Whatever, Betty, just be quiet. Stop talking. All you're doing is digging yourself a bigger hole. Hush. Just stop. You can talk about the case, but stop accusing people.
Well, yeah, but also how many other cases are there that really could use? She has a lot of new people in there because of Sebastian's case, bringing a lot of attention to her. She could use that and really talk about many things that could really use the attention. Correct. But no, because if you do that, you're going to lose a lot of the people in the chat. That's just the truth. That is just the truth, you know.
Well, most subscribers like us, you know, who are they're flitting around YouTube and they're watching stuff and they're hearing stuff and whatnot. And like Megan Fox, you know, I don't have time to research this. And then other people like we are that start really digging into it and seeing, you know, what does this mean? Try to get some clarification of it. Like Bendy said, you know, a summons is not a, hey, this is happening, show up if you want. No, a summons is you have to come
it's a demand.
Here. It is.
It's not a request. It's a demand. Get your ass to here at this day at this time. Period.
Because this is a legal thing. This is according to the law. And I know that a lot of people are saying, well, it's not a gag order. No, it's not a gag order. But the point is, a gag order is placed in criminal cases, like Idaho has a gag order. That's a criminal case. This is a civil matter.
Now it's criminal. It started civil, but now it's criminal. The violating of the PO is now criminal.
Yeah, that's true. That I don't know, man. I'm really curious to see how it turns out. Wolfie, though, look at Wolfie's name. Mean Ghoul, Asparagus Groupie. Wolfie, thank you, Wolfie.
Mean Ghoul.
Mean Ghoul.
Why? That is the most angry looking asparagus I've ever seen in my entire life. Why is your asparagus angry, Wolfie?
Because it's mean.
Yeah, well, hey, I say it different than you, so it's just the way it is. But no, that's funny. Thank you, Wolfie. I appreciate that.
I'm going to definitely keep an eye on this and see, you know, where this goes. But I mean, listen, I don't want to tell anybody because I don't want to be told how to run my channel. So I'd avoid, you know, telling other people how to run theirs. But this is what I will say. And this is speaking with both hats on. The Jen that is a creator, which I don't even like that word, but you know, that's the word for YouTube. And then the Jen that is a subscriber. As a creator, it's my responsibility. I'm responsible for the content that I put out. Now, recently, you guys all know I've been covering Sarah Boone, okay? And this has this battered spouse syndrome has come up as a defense for Sarah before this Mr. Owens came to represent her. This is a defense that has been spoken about almost since the beginning of her whole upcoming trial. I could have said right then and right there, oh no, she's not a battered spouse, blah, 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 blah. And I could have had all kinds of opinions, but I didn't. I waited because I wanted to understand what battered spouse syndrome is, number one, the definition of it. And number two, how the legal definition, what is required to use that defense. That's my choice. And subscribers have a choice as well. I have the choice as a subscriber to go where I want and listen to what I want. And if I don't like something, if I don't like the way a certain creator is covering a case or the way they are speaking and giving opinions and without receipts to back it up or making allegations, it's my decision and choice to stop watching that creator. And I think that it's as subscribers, you guys need to remember, it's like Bug's Life. Okay. The ants, subscribers, outnumber the grasshoppers, creators, by like a lot. You actually have the ultimate voice and ultimate control, and the way that you can voice your objections, voice your control is to simply unsubscribe or not watch content that you don't like.
Exactly, because the YouTube algorithm, which is not a human, it's artificial intelligence, looks at, it doesn't care if it's a hate view or it's a love view. It's a view.
Yeah, the algorithm doesn't, when YouTube looks at their algorithm, right? The algorithm doesn't say, there were 5,000 views. 4,999 of those views were hate watchers. And one view was somebody who loved, all they see is the number. It's just math to them. That's it.
Exactly.
Math has no feelings.
Ones. No, there's no feelings in math.
Math can give you feelings like frustration if it's geometry, if you're Jen Lu, because I'm not good at geometry, but math, it's just numbers. That's it. And that's what they see.
Okay. Yep. Facts don't care about your feelings, but no, thank you guys for coming up and talking about this with me. There are a few other more unknown cases I want to discuss before I end today. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And please, you guys go check out Jen's channel and Grandma Sherry. Grandma Sherry, you do have the sweetest voice. I love your voice. And by the way, I watched one of your recent lives on the replay. Please check out their channels. I think that you guys would really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you for coming up and being willing to talk through this with me.
Thanks, Hallie.
Because it hasn't made sense to me. So I just appreciate it because it helps it kind of make sense.
Well, you're welcome,
and Jen Lu, I just want to apologize about the stuff that I wrote in 1791 about you.
It's okay.
It was wrong. It was misinformation.
Yeah, I get it. It happens. It happens, Grandma Sherry. Don't you worry about what you said in 1791 or 92 or, because the truth of the matter is, if you wrote that I was being a bitch on March 15th, 1792, the truth of the matter is I probably was being a bitch that day. But here today on 9/5/2024 today, I'm not being a bitch, not intentionally, but somebody might interpret it as me being bitchy. So there you go. It is what it is. But thanks for having me, Hallie. Thank you, Grandma Sherry.
Exactly. I'm going to drop down. Y'all have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day. Okay, you guys. So I still want to talk about a few other cases. This one, Mayla's mom sent to me. So I wanted to make sure that we talk about this one. Let me see. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I didn't send it to myself correctly. So let me go to some of the other ones. Wait, here we go. We'll go back to the Mayla's mom one. And I got it back quickly. Okay. And thank you, Mayla's mom, for sending this to me. And you guys, if there's any cases that you see that you haven't really seen talked about that tug at you for one reason or another, let me know and we'll go through them together during these morning lives. I want to talk about, all the things happening in the true crime world, not just the trending topics, but also the ones that aren't. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay. So I was trying to make sure I'm caught up. Let me see with these. Yes. Okay. All right. So Evansville father accused of battering 3-month-old son. Evansville police arrested a 22-year-old Evansville man on Sunday after he, trigger warning, you guys, and I know it's to be expected that some of this stuff is going to be gruesome, but just in case, because we were not really talking about that kind of stuff before. Or some of this stuff is hard to hear. I don't know the right word for it. You guys know what I mean. So a 22-year-old man arrested Sunday after he allegedly beat his 3-month-old son so severely that the boy had to be airlifted out of Evansville to undergo medical treatment. That's according to the Evansville Police Department, who identified the boy's father as Ali Sadiq Murray. Public records show that Murray was booked into the Vanderburgh County Jail Sunday afternoon on one preliminary count of battery, adult on a person less than 14 years of age, a level 3 felony. Murray's arrest came after he had watched his son for a period of time and then returned them to their mother, suffering from what appeared to be unexplained injuries. The sergeant wrote in a news release. The boy's mother reportedly told investigators that she noticed numerous bruises on her son's body after Murray dropped him off, prompting them to go to Deaconess Gateway Hospital. At the hospital, medical staff conducted tests and x-rays revealing the child had multiple brain bleeds, fractures to his skull, both legs, and right arm. Maris wrote in the news release, the child had a busted lip and bruising to the gums, forehead, neck, and stomach area. The child was then life-flighted for more extensive medical treatment. Detectives interviewed Murray at EPD headquarters on Sunday. According to investigators, Murray claimed to know nothing about his son's injuries when confronted by the boy's mother and continued to deny having knowledge of them during the police interview. Murray reportedly said he had spent Saturday evening with his son and his girlfriend, whom the police did not name, and that he returned his son to his mother after he could not get him to fall asleep. At one point during the interview, Murray is alleged to have quipped that his girlfriend was the number one suspect, not himself, because she had sent a text message regarding a sore on the boy's lip. Maris said that Murray didn't say much and showed little emotion when detectives told him the extent of the injuries his son had suffered. As a result of the interviews and evidence, Murray was arrested for battery. According to court documents, a Vanderburgh County judge ordered Murray to be held at the jail on a $50,000 bond. He is scheduled to make his initial court appearance Thursday morning. So this morning. Let's see. Thank God the baby has not lost his life. I hope that he continues to get better. Awful. 3-month-old. How do you hurt? It's like what we talked about yesterday. How do you punch or hit or hurt a child of this age? I don't understand. And if you're capable of that, whether that child loses their life or thank God like this child, if they don't, I still think that you should lock them up and throw away the damn key. That's truly how I feel about it. I just find it so disgusting. Okay, so now I want to talk about this. I saw this and okay, Baton Rouge cops looking for a mom of 4-year-old who escaped apartment and was struck by a car. So police in Louisiana are searching for the mother whose 4-year-old child reported escaped from their apartment last week and was hit by a car. This is strange. Listen, so the boy suffered a skull fracture, a broken femur, several lacerations to his head and body, the warrant says. Police said they spoke with the mother while the child was hospitalized, but they don't know where she is now. Moore reportedly told police that the boy opened a sliding door and ran out of the apartment on August 30th. She gave chase, but couldn't catch him and waited 30 minutes before calling police for assistance. Officers responded to that call, but were unable to find the boy. Minutes later, a driver flagged down an officer saying she hit a small boy who ran in front of her vehicle. The child was conscious and stable when he was taken to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital. The officer said his diaper was overflowing. Investigators also learned that officers had responded to a similar call from the mother the day before. Moore reportedly told police at that time that the boy had escaped several times because of a broken lock. The Department of Children and Family Services has been asked to investigate further. Moore is wanted for 1 count each of child desertion and improper supervision of a minor. So she was around at first after this, and now she's just, they can't get it. They can't find her. Really bizarre. And what the hell is actually going on there? Okay, also, let me see. There was something else, too. There were a couple other ones, actually. And I want to talk to you about this one is horrific. But before we get into that, actually, let's talk about this. So be on the lookout. This is an endangered Michigan woman. I know some of you guys here are in Michigan. So, hey, Angie, good morning. Police seek tips on missing endangered Michigan woman. Kalamazoo Public Safety is asking the public to be on the lookout for a missing disabled woman. According to Kalamazoo Public Safety, Tina Coville, 65, is considered as missing and endangered by authorities. She was last seen at her home on September 3rd around 4 p.m. and left voluntarily. Coville, who uses a wheelchair, was last seen wearing sweatpants and a white t-shirt. Police are concerned for her safety due to her medical conditions. Anyone with information should call KDPS Operations Division at 269-337-8142. So maybe take a screenshot if it is, in your area and try to remember her face. Did you guys see that the school shooter from what happened yesterday was investigated last year for threats and stuff like that? Be on the lookout in Michigan. That is so scary to me when there is an older disabled person. I've seen him with Alzheimer's, things like that. Hey, Debbie Doodles. Waited 30 minutes to call. That was weird with the child who got hit by a car. Preliminary thought. If the girlfriend is texting about a lip sore, she's concerned about the baby's well-being. Absolutely. And the fact that he's just going to throw her under the bus like that. What an asshole. Oh, did Natasha get some wax melts? I got some too, and I think they'll be here soon. And I had to get a new wax melter. I dropped the top of mine and broke it. But the one I got is really pretty. Shooter was 14 and being tried as an adult, Woofy says. Yeah, the lock was broken but never fixed. Oh, Chicken Shite says, lived across the lake from Michigan most of my life. Never seen a missing person found ever, unfortunately. So this on the screen is not something I had planned to talk about. We might in a second, but let's look at this. So brothers 7 and 9 found chained up inside Virginia apartment. I think sometimes we forget how sick people can be. Like if you don't see these things happening to you or the people around you, it almost escapes your mind some of the awful things that happen out there. And a lot of times they don't get a lot of coverage. Like there might be 1 out of every 10 or 20 cases that we talk about that gets, any media coverage. Actually, far more than that. I could probably find 10 to 20 unknown cases every single day. If you guys go to Crime Online, that is an excellent resource for just finding out what the hell is going on in this world. They're constantly updating and loading new stories and things that are happening in the world. And it's really alarming how often those new stories come out. So a Virginia couple has been arrested after police checked out a call about possible child neglect and found 2 young boys chained by their ankles in a Fairfax County home. Wedney Rodriguez and Franklin Guevara, 47 and 29, were both charged with 2 counts each of child neglect, child cruelty, and abduction. Rodriguez has since bonded out, but Guevara remains behind bars. Court documents say police knocked at the door and heard a chain rattling inside. When the door was opened, they saw the 2 boys, 7 and 9 years old, chained up by a sleeping cot. The documents say that one of the boys used a roommate's cell phone to take a picture of his ankle with the chain attached and send it to his sister, who called 911. Rodriguez, who is the boy's mother, and Guevara reportedly told police they chained the boys for short periods of time to scare them and prevent them from leaving the apartment. The roommate, however, told police the children were often left unsupervised and restrained. Police said the boys had marks on their ankles that were consistent with the chains. According to WJLA, Rodriguez has a next court appearance for October the 2nd to scare them and prevent them from leaving the apartment. No, I'm sorry, not acceptable in any world. It's just this, it's wild to me that there's so much of this kind of stuff happening. Kid denied making the threats. Interesting, Wolfie. Let's see. Yeah. Jesus, man. Scumbags. It's crazy. Like I said, and that you will find so many of these stories sometimes I would just get on here and go through the news with you guys and just watch and what's going on and talk about it. And it's crazy that, there are, I'll never stop talking about it. I'll never accept it. I'll never understand how all of this can be happening, but there are certain specific instances of this kind of stuff happening that get talked about so much and others that don't. Oh, look, Little Red, great job going up this morning. Very informative. I'm so glad you came up too. I'm having fun down here with Grandma Sherry. I'm so glad you and Bindi both came up. I appreciate that so much because, hey, Adrian, it's, the whole situation with her restraining order and arrest. I'm not sure how I feel, but I know that I felt like even though Megan Fox's tone was off and her attitude was, I don't know, I just didn't appreciate her attitude. I still felt like she made a couple good points. So let's see what this is. Prosecutors. 4-year-old child may have witnessed Alabama man's murder and dismemberment. We have a mugshot here. Prosecutors say a 4-year-old may have witnessed the murder and dismemberment of an Alabama man last week. Joselina Elizabeth Lopez appeared Tuesday at a bond hearing. She was arrested last Thursday for the murder of 41-year-old Benito Guzman, who was found dismembered in a car behind his house on August 27th. He had vanished days before his body was found. Lopez is charged with beheading him with a chainsaw and dumping his body in the car by herself. Interesting. Let's see. One second. Okay. FedEx man just drove past me and it was kind of loud. So at the bond hearing, investigators testified they were searching for Guzman when they came across the vehicle. Noting a strong odor, they found a chainsaw in the body in 10 to 15 pieces stuffed into garbage bags that were in the back seat and the trunk. Inside the home, they found a handgun, a hatchet, 2 knives, 2 more chainsaws, and receipts for the tools. Additionally, chainsaw marks were spotted on the floor. Oh my gosh. Although the autopsy is not complete, police believe he was shot several times before he was dismembered. Investigators said they believe the couple's 4-year-old son or 4-year-old child who has autism and birth defects and other people were present for the murder. Lopez claimed self-defense during the hearing. Her lawyer said he owed money to someone for drugs and that her family was being threatened for the money. What? Prosecutors said they had no evidence of self-defense. Lopez had bruises, they said, but they cannot say they were caused by Guzman. Prosecutors asked that she be denied bond over concern she would flee to Mexico. Her attorney said she has no ties to Mexico. One second, you guys. Poor child, please let them be in the best care now. That baby is going to need all the help. Oh my God. This makes me want to do a little more digging into this. So prosecutors wanted her to be denied bond, afraid that she would flee. But her attorney said, she has no ties to Mexico. She's never been outside the United States. And she would wear an ankle monitor if she's given bond. No, you don't give someone bond who's accused of shooting someone and then using a chainsaw to take off their head and in front of your child, and that's their father. The judge said he planned on making a ruling by the end of the week. I'm surprised that, it's not that hard. Come on. Here, let's go to the local news and see what they had to say. I thought about just now as we were reading, maybe I'd like to dig into this a little more and do just a soul lab on just this case, because I still want to do that a few times a week. I will do evening lives, and if there's an update in Letitia's lawsuit, if we ever receive the damn calls we paid for months ago, we will be reviewing those. If things like that, Stephen Stearns, we still have to finish going through the documents and stuff with that, and maybe we'll do some lives specifically on one standalone more unknown case like this. So South Alabama woman accused of dismembering lover with chainsaw claims self-defense. 4-year-old child may have witnessed. Let's just see if there's anything different in here. Investigators claim she shot and quote unquote completely dismembered her partner with a chainsaw in the same house as their 4-year-old child. He was found dismembered in a car. During the bond, officers testified they arrived at the bond hearing, testified they arrived at the scene, noticed the odor, found the chainsaw and his body in the 10 to 15 pieces in different garbage bags placed in the back seat and the trunk. Oh, okay. According to the investigator, after finding the body, officers began searching the home and discovered a pistol, a hatchet, 2 knives, and we already read this, and 2 other chainsaws, and various receipts showing the purchased tools. And then the chainsaw marks on the floor. Who are the several others who are at the home when this happens? I don't see any new information in this. Let me just go back and see if we can find. And there was 2, I believe there were 2 different articles hyperlinked in here. Oh, okay. The other one was just Crime Online coverage of Benito being missing, or woman beheads lover with chainsaw, leaves dismembered body in car. So let's see. It doesn't have any information here, just that she was charged with first-degree murder. And more charges could be coming. That is unbelievable. What in the world would make someone do something like that? It has to be mental illness, right? Because surely, I mean, there's chainsaw marks on your floor. You leave him out in a car with a chainsaw. I mean, it seems like at some point you may have been trying to cover up what you were doing, but then again, it doesn't. I don't know. I can't make sense of why these things happen. I don't know. Some people are just farked up. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. Self-defense. Sure, Jan. Yeah, self-defense. Because he owed people money and those people were threatening them. So that's the way it read to me. Like, that's the explanation of self-defense. No. So also updates on Devin and Lyric. Lynn, I am trying to get information on that. So I know he was scheduled to have a hearing at the end of the summer, and there is nothing online. I have to get in the case file on the government website, because last week I went and looked into the Facebook groups about him. I searched for new articles. I searched Twitter for any kind of new posts. I can't find anything. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm kind of thinking that is he working out some sort of deal? I'm not sure. I'm so sorry, Lil Red. No, it might be blurry. My internet was not working correctly this morning. I'm having some trouble with it right now. Both internet sources are just it's really hazy today. I'm sure it's the clouds. Like when it storms here, all of our internet, cell phone, even like DirecTV, all that stuff just goes to shit. How could you use a chainsaw on a person? Yeah, and how are there several other people there when this happens? I'm really curious about that. Chainsaw is a little bit of a reach for self-defense. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here and going through all of this with me. I'm sorry, you guys, that I was a little bit late and I was a wreck when we started, but I do appreciate you coming. And yeah, maybe later this evening we'll do something else. And I don't know. Stay tuned. Have your notifications on in case we do, so you don't miss it. Seek Justice says, please keep my grandson in your prayers. Going to the doctor because he has a weird thing growing on his back. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry to hear that, Seek Justice. Hopefully it's nothing and they can remove it or whatever. And you guys can keep on, doing what you do. I'm so sorry to hear that. I know that's so scary. Rando says, I have a pre-op today and I gasp out loud and the nurse raised her eyebrow, but chainsaw? Yeah. All right, you guys, it's giving me deliverance vibes. Shroom psychosis, Sarah Bellum says. Oh, thank you, Natasha. Thank you guys for spending your morning with me. Yeah, make sure your notifications are on and don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the stream. And thank you to the mods. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for everything. Bye.